swamps, marshes, creeks and sloughs, rivers and distributaries. Water finds a multitude of ways to move through the Apalachicola River Delta and into the bay. The Apalachicola's wetlands and waterways are key to the health of the basin's most famous export.
We have some of the fastest growing oysters in the world right here in Apalachicola because of the conditions. With right conditions, we've seen them grow between 10 to 14 months. Some areas it takes a little longer, 18 months. 18 months, you got pretty much, we got a mature oyster.
Apalachicola oysters dine on a nutrient soup, brewed in protected wetlands around the river. It's a soup cooked in hell.
So there are many songs and stories about Seep Tate and how Tate's Hell was named. He lived near Sumatra, and a panther was getting into some of his livestock, his pigs and such. So he went off to hunt the panther and ended up lost in Tate's Hell swamp for 7 days.
I've never been back this far.
Lost his gun, he got snake bit, and when he crawled out into the streets of Carabel, they came up to him and said, "Who are you, and where have you come from?" And he just said, "My name is Tate, and I've been through hell." And so then it was called Tate's Hell. Now another part of the story is I've heard that a medicine man had warned him about going in there. He warned him not to go into the tiny cypress forest, which is the dwarf cypress forest. And he went there, that's where he got snake bit. That's one version of a story I heard.
A boardwalk and observation tower make the dwarf cypress forest a little easier to visit than in Seeb's day. The water that flows through this swamp is the reason the land was purchased by the state in the 1990s. For decades, Tate's Hell had been drained to grow trees. Now, its historic hydrology has been restored, benefiting the Apalachicola Estuary.
Rob, when you are in Graham Creek runs into the East River. You can paddle right out into the Appalach and come on down, or you can take a left and go down East River and go to East Bay.
Not all of the old Tate's Hell swamp is in Tate's Hell State Forest. Owl Creek is in the Apalachicola National Forest. Like Graham Creek, it's a Tupelo swamp.
The Tupelo honey, that pure, doesn't ever crystallize in the jar, has the perfect taste.
Apalachicola Riverkeeper Dan Tonsmeyer is giving us a tour of the river delta. It's a region that has seen changes after years of decreased water levels.
Because the floodplain overall is drying out, you have just the soils and the ground is drier such that the Tupelo trees aren't regenerating like they should. The river is at about 18,000 CFS now, which is kind of the low threshold for flooding the floodplain. So during the drought, this was all dry. It was about a foot out of the water.
Leaving Owl Creek, we crisscross the delta. As we get closer to the bay, it gets marshier.
In the drought, this all died off because it was just salty all the time.
Just as low flows dry out Tupelo swamps, they increase salinity in marshes. These changes make it difficult for existing plant communities to succeed, even when freshwater periodically returns.
It's like a rubber band, and you can pull them and stretch them for so far and they keep coming back, but you get to a point where it gives up and it doesn't come back anymore, or it takes generations for it to come back.
For WFSU Media, I'm Rob Diaz de Villegas.